Hello friends, very good evening to all of you. I strongly believe you all are fine and doing good at your respective places. Firstly, profuse apologies for the technical glitch at the end of the YouTube or some other portal which we are using in order to relay this class to you. Hello friends, very good evening to all of you. Start the discussion. I strongly believe you all are fine. Friends, we are reading or learning about the performance evaluation. So, in order to learn about the performance evaluation, we are studying the chapter number 8 of our curriculum, which deal with performance measurement and evaluation. We need to solve the question, we need to learn the new concept, but prior to that, take a quick overview of what we are learning and where we reach in the chapter number 8. Friends, we started the chapter number 8 by understanding what is the performance management system. In that, we understand that for every organization, it's important to measure the performance in order to manage the performance. And why to manage the performance? So that we can achieve the corporate objective. So, organization willing to manage the performance has to measure the performance. Okay. But when we say we has to measure the performance, obviously for that, we need to identify that performance will be measured at what level. Obviously, at certain divisional level or department level. So that's why it's important to know the organization structure. Whether the organization is divisional organization, it's a functional organization, it's a line structure, it's a matrix structure, which way the organization is built in. Further, the responsibility accounting and centers need to be identified or implemented. We need to identify that what are the various center or the division which can be considered as a separate unit, maybe a cost center, maybe a profit center, maybe a revenue center, and what are the responsibility assigned to those center and how we can take, you can say, result from those center and how we can evaluate those center. Okay. Very good evening to all of you. Very good evening. So, after studying the performance management system and organization structure, we study about the responsibility accounting and responsibility center. Then thereafterward, we start studying the various tools which can be applied, which can be part of performance management metrics of any organization in order to measure the performance. We say that there may be the tool which only consider financial performance indicators such as the profit sale or the value of asset. What are those? The ROI, return on investment, RI, residual income, EVA. But there is a problem with this. They are only considering the financial performance indicator. But organization don't only wish to be profitable. Organization wish to be sustainable. In order to be sustainable, you need to look at how the customer think about you, whether you are a good organization or not in terms of the employee satisfaction. So there are certain other tools which, apart from considering the financial performance indicator, also consider non-financial performance indicator. These non-financial performance indicator, friend, will be different for different industries. For an hospital, it may be how much number of patients recover. For a school, how much student graduated and how much student willing to take admission. What is your student-teacher ratio? So it depends upon the industry that what are the non-financial performance indicator we are considering in these models. Okay. Now, when we complete this thing, then we have to cover these 4 topics. In the tools, up till now, we cover till the performance prism. In the last class, we studied the performance prism, but we didn't solve the question on the performance prism. We have to solve the question on a performance prism in order to gain the confidence on the concept. Okay. So what I do, I'll explain the performance prism in the form of a story for you. Then I'll take you to the notes and then we'll read the question and solve the question which was asked in the examination. Okay. What Mr. Neeley and Adam said, who gave this performance prism, they say the organization is like this triangular prism. Triangular prism means there is a bottom side, there is a top side, and apart from that, there are only three sides: side 1, side 2, and side 3. There are three sides. This says that each of these sides represent one factor. What are the factor? Friend, if there is a problem in the connectivity, it may be resolved in a minute or a two. So don't worry. Okay, give another minute. It may get improved as well. Okay. Some of the friends are, you can say that, concerned that the video quality has some issue. Don't worry, technical team is working at the back end. So they will improve it if there is a problem at our end. But if the problem is in the connection or connectivity or internet speed at your end, then you need to wait for a minute. Okay. So coming back to the concept, what we were talking about the performance prism. What the performance prism said, or the Neely or the Adams said, they simply mention that the organization is like this triangular prism which has 5 elements. What are those 5 elements? Let me discuss about those. The first element is the shareholder and other than shareholder which are interested in the company. Means this model has one advantage. What is that? This model not only talk about the shareholder. This model is talk about the stakeholder. I have a less space here, so that's why I write the short form of the stakeholder. So stakeholder satisfaction is one of the factor. The another factor is the strategy. The another factor is capability. The fourth factor is the process, and the fifth factor is the contribution by the stakeholder. Now, what the model said, please try to understand along with me. I'm going to take you to the notes. So this is a model, but we studied it from here. So what we studied, that in order to satisfy the shareholder, we will try to build the strategy or formulate the strategy. In order to implement the strategy, we need to perform certain processes. In order to perform the process, we must have resources. Those resources are known as capability. This may be the man hour, maybe the machine hour, maybe the money. And these capability are contributed by whom? These are contributed by the stakeholder themselves. It means by taking some resources from the stakeholder, what we try to do? We try to satisfy them by performing certain processes. So this model talk about quid pro quo. It means giving the satisfaction as a return to the contribution made by stakeholder. Agreed? तो जो मेरे दोस्तों ने पिछली क्लास मेरे साथ नहीं करी, उनकी नॉलेज के लिए I'll explain it once again, that there was a problem in the balance scorecard and the performance pyramid. What was the problem? That they only consider the shareholder or the customer. They don't consider rest of the stakeholder. So this model start talking about the stakeholder. This model said that we must consider about all the stakeholder, not only the shareholder or the customer. So diversified stakeholder dealt by this particular model. And they connect the stakeholder expectation and the contribution with the help of 3 sides of the prism. What are those 3 sides? The strategy, the processes, and capabilities. Okay. I hope the model is clear to you. Now we are moving to the question. These notes we already studied in the last lecture, so I'm not studying these again. I'm directly taking you to the question. I hope the question is visible to everyone. Read the question along with me carefully. This question was asked in the May 2019. Audiotech is the company that designs, develops, and audio equipment. So it's mentioned that there is a company which is in the business of designing, manufacturing, and selling the audio equipment. Further, Audiotech is the best known for its home audio system and speaker, noise cancelling headphone, professional audio system, and automobile audio system. It means the business is dealing in the variety of the product, but all the product are dealing or related to the audio systems or the music system. Further, Audiotech sells the audio equipment to the customer through its large network of the retail outlet in its home country via the company website. So it's selling the product to the customer through two means. What is the first mean? The retail outlet. Please underline the word. It's a large network. It means it has a presence throughout the country, and the retail outlets are controlled or owned by the Audiotech. They are not selling through the distributor or the retailer. So they have entire downstream supply chain in their hand. So this is a positive point. Further, the another mechanism is what? Via company's website. It means they are using e-platform to sell the audio system. Okay, moving further. The Audiotech purchases the materials and component that it need to manufacture audio equipment from a number of different suppliers. Because they buy it from the different supplier, hence the buying power, you can say that the bargaining power of the supplier is limited. If one of the supplier not offering the good credit term, obviously they will start buying it from the another supplier. Further, all the purchases are delivered to the companies at the godown at its factor and are held there until they are needed for the production and the assembly. It means the goods by the supplier supplied at the godown. Sorry, this is not the factor, this is factory. Godown at the factory, and the goods stored till it's used in the production. So here you can see one way to improve the cost. What is that? Currently, we are holding the stock. If we move to the JIT system, we can eliminate this stock, but we need to understand the nature of the demand. If there is uneven demand, it may lead to stock out situation. So we need to read the question and then read the requirement in order to use this spec. But this spec is very useful. Okay. Now moving further. Thank you, Hema. Now moving further. Finished products are transported from the factory to the Audiotech retail outlet by the company's own trucks. It means the logistic is also managed by the company. Because the logistic is also managed by the company, hence the feature or the function which considered as a primary function in the value chain, majorly controlled by the company themselves. They are hardly relying upon any external agency. They are having the full control over their primary functions. Now moving further, the truck follow the same schedule each week, irrespective of the load they are carrying. Another scope of the cost reduction. What they are saying, that if there is a route A, then truck follow the route A, irrespective of the fact whether they'll have to deliver something to the route A or not. And second thing, what they are saying, that if on the route A, the truck need to be sent on 3 days in a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then all these 3 days we send the truck on the route A, irrespective of fact that how much load are there. It may possible that we only have that much of the material that if we not send it on a Monday and a Friday, we send only Wednesday one truck to the route A, we can meet all the deliveries. But what we are doing, we had a predefined schedule. Now ignoring the load in the truck, ignoring the quantum of the material we need to supply, we are just following the schedule blindly. We are not applying the rationale. Further, audio equipment that are required for the sale via company's website are transported to the Audiotech distribution center. It means for those goods which they are selling through the company website, for that they have a common distribution center or common distribution hub, and the goods sent to that distribution hub, from that it will be distributed to the customer who placed the order through website. Further, the company believes that it can attract more customer by offering the quality product at the reasonable prices. Very good policy, that if you offer the value to the customer, obviously customer will buy from you. Each unit is tested for the quality with the real-time analyzer iPad app and a calibrated microphone. Basically, these two techniques are used in order to check the bass and the trance of the system, how good it is. Further, measure how consistently each sound system reproduce various frequencies. A bass test sweep tone allows the checking how well the subwoofer manage the low end frequencies. Basically, they say that they conduct the inspection or testing while producing the product. So they are conduct testing. They are also doing inspection. These are nothing. The testing is nothing but the way of conducting the inspection. Okay. Further, finally, they drive each car briefly to see how the sound quality change while on the move. Obviously, when the car is on the road, there may be some, you can say that hit or the bounces, or there may be some suspension is there, which may badly affect the music system. So they also put it into a car and then drive the car in order to see whether it's working fine on a road or not. Okay, so they are conducting the inspection. But here you need to note one fact, friends. Inspection is conducted when the production process completes. This is a production process. Once it's complete, then you start conducting what? Inspection. If you identify the good is not in such a nature, it can be sold, then obviously what you will have to do, you will have to rework on that particular unit. But instead of this, if you perform this inspection throughout the production process or on the goods when you accepting it from the supplier at the gate of the godown or at the gate of the factory, then it might possible the bad quality product which you assemble and later on identify make a problem, you not use that part or hold the production process the moment you identify there is a defect. That is nothing but the JIDOKA, part of Toyota production system. Stop the process where you identify the problem. Then it means in this question, no doubt, Audiotech is conducting inspection very good. It's conducting inspection as appraisal activity. It's incurring appraisal cost to manage the quality. I strongly believe that you studied the type of the quality cost in the chapter number 2. It's incurring the quality cost in the form of appraisal cost. But what should it need to do? It must incur the preventive cost. It must conduct the inspection the moment it buys the material or the moment it processing the product, so that later on rework cost need not to be spent. It can be saved. Okay, so here is another important point in order to reduce the cost. Okay, moving further, friends, the company aims to build the customer loyalty also through high level of customer service and value chain analysis. Very good. If you deliver the value more than the price paid by the customer love to buy the product from you and he'll become the loyal customer to you. He'll keep on buying from you. The customer can return the product if the quality specifications are not met. It means they are focusing on the quality. And what is the meaning of the quality? Here, the meaning of quality is meeting the specification, meeting the need of the customer, conformance to the need of the customer. Further, there is a separate department to handle such complaint. It means they has a separate customer relation department or complaint handling department, which basically listen to the complaint of the customer and then response to the customer. This is very, very, very good feature. Very good feature. It means you are treating your customer in the best way. Moving further, if something is not bad in the question, then what we need to do? Obviously, if all things are good, then there may be something are bad. Now the bad story starts. Let's read along with me. The Audiotech has implemented balanced scorecard as performance measurement and management system. Company has been doing great on the financial parameter and customer satisfaction parameter. As I already mentioned, there is a major limitation of the balanced scorecard. What is the limitation? Out of the 4 perspectives, the 2 major perspectives are financial perspective, then the customer perspective. No doubt in the training and innovation, we talk about the employees. That employee must be provided with the proper training, but it is not fully employee perspective. Hence, only 2 stakeholders majorly considered under the balanced scorecard. That is the shareholder who provides the finances or any other person who provides the finance, and then the customer. And in both perspectives, we are doing good. But what about the staff? Let's read the further story in order to understand. Market capitalization of the company has been increased considerably over the year. So it means on the financial front, company is doing very good. Companies keep on adding the shareholder value and shareholder are quite happy. Further, of late, the company has witnessed the high employee turnover ratio. What does it mean, high employee turnover ratio? Employee turnover means number of people, number of staff member who leave the organization, attrition rate. You all computed these employee turnover ratio in the intermediate in the chapter of the labor in the form of flex ratio, separation ratio, replacement ratio. Okay, so these are the same ratios. Further, though the company has formal exit interview process. What is exit interview? The person who leaves the company, we ask him the reason of leaving the company, how it can be mitigated. Okay. 4, resigning employee. The input received from these interview is rarely considered in improving the HR practices. It means no doubt we are conducting the exit interview, but we are not considering the advices given by the employees who are leaving the company. We are not focusing on the reason why they left the company. Further, one of the common feedback from the employees was that the working hours are too long. They have to frequently work on a weekend as well. And there is so much pressure to improve the customer services without adequate support of the system and the processes. So there are 3 complaints from the staff. What are those? The first complaint, that the working hours are long, maybe 8 to 8 shift, 12-hour long work shift, maybe more than that. So they said that the work shift is too long. Further, they usually are on frequently basis asked to work on a weekend. It means they are not getting the Sunday or a Saturday, depending upon the country. If it is a Arab country, then they are not getting the Friday off. They have to work all 7 days in a week. What is the solution? Hire the new employee. Obviously, if you hire the new employee, then you can finish your work on the weekdays. Then you need not to work on a weekends in order to fulfill the orders, in order to, you can say that, meet the order which you accepted. Further, third problem. What is the third problem? That customer are on a high priority. So staff usually pressurized to improve the customer relation. But in order to improve the customer relation, they are not getting the adequate support of system or the processes. It means the processes are not good. Process asks them not to give more than 10 minutes to each customer. But obviously, in order to build a relation with the customer, you have to give more time if the customer keep on asking the question. You have to take a interest in the questions of the customer. You need to reply in such a manner that you really interested. Customer must feel in such a manner. So these things they basically mention, and they may not be equipped with the infrastructure in order to meet the need of the customer. So 3 problems of the staff is clearly mentioned. Further, also the truck drivers has been on a strike thrice in the last 1 year, demanding better pay, the retirement benefit, and good working condition. So there are 3 problems with the truck drivers as well. And this is a major issue. Why major issue? Because Audiotech currently manages its logistic at its own. It's transferring the goods to the retail outlet and to the central distribution hub by itself using its own truck. If the truck will not work, obviously it's unable to deliver the product, so it becomes a major issue. Hence, it's important to consider the truck driver. It's one of the major stakeholders in the system. And what are the 3 problems? That they need a better pay, they need retirement benefits, and also improved working condition. Now the last paragraph. Audiotech keen to address the above issues recently held a meeting to discuss the performance of the company. The management accountant suggested to the managing director to use the alternate performance mechanism. What does it mean? Drop the balance scorecard as performance evaluation or measurement tool. Instead of that, use some other or alternate tool. Now you know, here the problem is not with the customer or the shareholder. Here the problem is with the staff. And the model which consider all the stakeholder is only the one. Which one is that? The performance prism. Hence, you will suggest the alternate measurement mechanism. The alternate performance measurement mechanism can be performance prism. Further, friends, which consider all the stakeholder instead of just the shareholder and the customer. The managing director is skeptical of the management accountant suggestion and is unclear as to whether they are suitable for the company or not. So obviously in the question he will ask you how the performance prism is suitable for the Audiotech. Further, therefore the company seek your assistance. Now what you are required to do, read along with me. Yes, good Chavi, the shareholder and customer. Okay. Further, now what you are required to do, to identify and explain the various primary activity of the Audiotech. Obviously, this is not part of my discussion because this is you already studied as part of chapter number 1. I'm here to teach you the second part of this particular question. But apart from that, we will also discuss the second sub-part of the first part. Why? Because it relates to the chapter number 4, which you studied along with me. What was asked to you? Also suggest if there is any scope for cost reduction in these activities. Friend, we identify 3 ways to reduce the cost. What are those 3 ways? The first way is the implementation of JIT. If we implement the JIT, then obviously we can save huge amount of the cost. How we can save the cost? The goods need not to be stored, hence holding cost on the product will not be incurred, which result in reduction of the working capital as well. Further, the second element, the logistic can be improved. Instead of just following the schedule blindly, what you need to do, you need to see whether there isn't full of truckload. If there is a full of truckload, only then send the truck. Otherwise, don't. But in order to do this, you need to be rational. There shall not be a situation when you delay the supply to the customer or at the retail outlet. Then otherwise, it will go against the branding of the company. Hence, rationality need to be applied rather than just following the schedule. Third one, what you need to do, you need to conduct the inspection at the time of the production itself, not once the goods produced. You need to conduct the inspection of the part which is used as an assembly the moment supplier supply it to you. Agreed? Now see, these 3 things along with me, then we read the second part and answer that. What are the three area where you can reduce the cost? You can move to the GIT, you can work on the logistic, you can work on the timing of the inspection, which will help you to reduce your cost of quality. Currently, you are conducting the inspection. It means what you are doing, you are incurring the appraisal cost. But what you need to do, instead of conducting the inspection after the production process completed, you need to conduct the inspection earlier. The moment when the production process ongoing, you need to incur it as a prevention cost. Okay. So this is the answer to your part number 1. Now we are moving to read the part number 2. Read it along with me. Recommend an alternative performance measurement. Good. Recommend the alternate performance measurement mechanism. What mechanism you will use? We already studied that we will apply performance prism, which consider all the stakeholders instead of just the shareholder and the customer. So you know the answer of this part. Further, also indicate the performance measure as applicable to the situation of the Audiotech. Means how the performance prism is suitable to the Audiotech in the alternate mechanism suggested by you. So we need to tell which measure, which KPI, key performance indicator, we will use in order to measure the performance of Audiotech with the help of performance prism. Now move to the answer to the second part. Here I need your advices. Now you need to be active because you are going to answer this case along with me. Okay. So friends, you know that performance prism consider the 5 elements. What are those elements? Stakeholder satisfaction, then the strategy in order to satisfy the stakeholder, to meet the expectation of stakeholder, then improvement in the processes so that we can achieve the strategy, then obviously the resources so that these processes can be performed, and last but not the least, obviously if we perform those processes which will satisfy the stakeholder, then in order to create the capabilities to perform the process, we need the resources, and resources will be provided by stakeholder again. So now the first thing which you need to suggest me, how we can improve the performance of organization in terms of meeting the expectation of stakeholder. But prior to that, just answer me, what are the 2 stakeholders apart from the shareholder and the customer we need to consider in this question? Quickly answer me. I'm waiting for your response. In the case, the name of 2 stakeholders are given to you who are facing problem, who are dissatisfied, who are not happy with the company. What are those? Quickly answer. Then I'll write it here and suggest you that how we can improve the performance in relation to them. Quickly answer. What are the 2 or who are the 2 stakeholders who are facing problem right now, who are not satisfied with the company and company wish to focus on them? Raviteja from Hyderabad, employees and truck driver. Absolutely fine. Good. Rest of my friend, I hope also reverting back. So we here notice that there are 2 major stakeholders regarding whom we need to take the decision. Who are those? They are the employees and truck drivers. Okay. So what you will do in order to ensure that the attrition rate must be low, what you will do? You will try to increase this satisfaction among the employee. Okay. Basically, under this perspective, what you need to identify? You need to identify the expectation of each employee. You know what is the expectation of employee in order to satisfy them? They need short working times because they feel that their time of working or their shift timing are too lengthy. You need to avoid the situation where they need to work on a weekend. You will have to offer them good working condition. So simply what you need to mention here, we will try to enhance the satisfaction of employee by working on these three elements. How you can improve the experience of the driver? Obviously, you will try to engage the driver in the communication along with you in order to understand the problem. You will try to involve them. You will try to involve them along with you in the dialogue in order to understand their expectation. What are their expectations? Although the three problems are clearly mentioned that the working conditions are not good, they need some kind of a guarantee regarding the retirement benefit, and the pay is also need to be improved. And what are the performance measures can be used? In order to see the satisfaction of the employee turnover ratio can be used. In order to see the truck driver satisfaction, the number of strike can be used as a key performance indicator. I hope this point is clear to you. Yes, Jayashri, answer is absolutely fine. Chavi, answer is absolutely fine. Musu Lakshmi, answer is good, fine, acceptable. Very good. Very good. I hope the first perspective is clear to you. Now we are moving further to the second perspective. What is the second perspective? The strategy. Now we understand that what the employees need, what the truck driver need. We need to build the strategy accordingly. What strategy you will make for the employees? Give them good pay package. Obviously, if their pay package is good, which include performance related pay, which include some of the employee stock options, because your shares are doing good, then obviously employee feel that what they are getting is a worth resource. And obviously for the ESOP, they need to spend some time in the company vesting period. If you follow such a strategy, you change the pay package, then it may possible you will be able to hold them for a longer period in the company. Agreed? So what performance measure you need to apply here? Again, you need to compute turnover ratio, but it will be revised turnover ratio after change in the pay package. Friend, what strategy you will use for the truck driver? Obviously, to the truck driver, you can give them one cleaner. You can make a strategy that for every truck, apart from a truck driver, there will be a cleaner. What is the job of the cleaner? To clean the truck, to help the driver when he need to take a turn on the roundabouts, to help the driver to tell him what is the other vehicle moving from the another side, which is not a driver's side, basically helping him to get the pass and other aspect. So this can be done. Apart from that, one more thing can be do. Most of the truck drivers spend the time on the road, either at crossing the border in order to pay the octroi, etc., or at the you can say that places where they need to show the tax documents. Although e-way bill is in a place under the GST era, but some of the other hurdles are still there. At the border, they need to show what is in the truck, the inspection may be conducted, and some other things are there. So what you can do, you can run a training program. You can inculcate this point in your strategy that we will conduct a training program in order to guide or make our truck driver this much, you can say that knowledgeful, that they can manage these situations easily. And what you can do, you can pay taxes online in advance. You can pay Octroi online in advance. So they need not to wait and stand in the long queues in order to pay the road taxes or the other toll taxes. You can avoid those things. Okay. It will improve the experience of the truck driver as well. So these points need to be written. One more thing can be done in the form of the strategy. What is that? You can relate their pay with the kilometers travel. Then what the driver will do? They will never go on a strike. They will always want it that wheel must be going on. But obviously, you will have to give the minimum assured pay so that they'll not feel that their entire salary is now variable and they'll feel demotivated. You need to keep them motivated as well. Okay. Now, friend, how you will measure the performance here? Obviously, in order to measure the performance here, you can see the efficiency. Likewise, by increasing how much of the amount, how much number of logistic kilometer you cover. So by changing in the strategy, because strategy is a very good tool, it can give a positive perspective to the person for whom it is created. Okay. Now moving to the process. What process you will need to apply in order to attain this strategy? You will not only change the pay package, you will also try to hire the good employees who has a similar interest as of the organization. Currently, if the employees are leaving the company, it means while you hire the employee, you are not making sure that you hire the employee which has an alignment of interest with the company. Hence, you need to improve your recruitment process. You need to work on your recruitment process. You need to identify the person who are ready to work at the designated pay or at the pay package which you are offering to them, and they must be ready in the existing working condition. So you must need to give them a transparent view of what they are supposed to do. If they are willing to work in such an environment, only then you need to recruitment, otherwise not. And second thing, recruit the person with the capabilities for the task you need to impose upon them. Only then they will continue in the company. Otherwise, it's difficult for them to continue in the company. Agreed? Hence, the recruitment process need to be improved. What is the performance measure? Number of new employee hired at different managerial level. Because the person who leaves the company, they may be the low-level employee, they may be the mid-level employee. So you need to ensure that whosoever leave the company, in his place, you identify a new person. Because if you don't identify a new person, then it will be higher burden on the existing employees. In case of the truck driver, what process you will change? As we already mentioned, that the training needed to be there. But apart from training, we change the process of managing the truck. Now the responsibility of managing the truck is upon the cleaner. The driver is only to drive the truck. So he feel empowered. He feel that he is doing a specific task of driving. He is having someone who is a subordinator to him, who clean the truck for him prior to he start driving, who likewise maintaining the logbook. Logbook is a nothing but the book which contain at what kilometer trucks moves out from the factory, at what kilometer level it's reached to the retail, means basically a logbook of the kilometer which is maintained by the truck driver or the cleaner of the truck. Okay. So what is the performance measure? The performance measure will be the number of kilometers covered. Apart from that, for both, there can be another performance measure, the number of training hour, because both the employee as well as truck driver need to be trained to work in the present environment condition. For employees, it's also important to conduct the induction program. Okay. Now moving to the capabilities. In order to conduct trainings, in order to conduct a recruitment process which is more enhanced, where the disclosure is given to the employee prior to they join the company, obviously then you need to conduct more number of interviews, because if you are telling on a very first day that in our company it is very pressurable, are you able to do it or not, then Maybe possible that if you conduct the 10 successful interviews, only 3 members ready to join you, 4 members ready to join you, then you have to conduct more number of the interviews. Agreed or not? It means in order to improve the recruitment process, in order to identify the candidate suitability in the recruitment process in the more detailed manner, in order to train your staff which you hire, in order to train the truck driver to meet the situation such like the payment of the taxes, the road taxes, etc. How to, you can say that, mitigate if some tax inspectors stop you and ask you what is in the truck, whether you paid the duty or not. If you wish to do such a thing, then obviously you need to conduct the training. And for conducting the training, you need to incur the resource in form of the money or in form of the cash. So you need to check whether you has the money along with you. You can spend the money or not. And in the question, it's mentioned that company's financial is quite a good, so company can incur good amount of money. So what will be the performance measure here? Number of training program conducted and amount incurred. Obviously, if company incur like 5% of its total operating expenditure on the training, then obviously there may be some good result in form of change in behavior of the employees as well as the truck driver. The training is not only related to their functional part. Training may also related to their grooming as well. What sort of grooming? You can tell them that strike is not the best way to put your point. You need to come in the dialogue with the management in order to put your point. Then it will do what? It will become a kind of or bring a harmony between the truck driver and the management. Okay, friend. Now moving to the last point, the stakeholder contribution. What sort of this contribution stakeholder will provide? If you work this much for the employee, you give them good pay package, you hire them with the transparent condition, you incur money upon them, you are training them, you are asking them to join the certification courses so they'll equip in order to perform the processes. Then in return, what they will do? They'll feel motivated. Because they feel motivated, then obviously their productivity will increase. Similar way, if you train the truck driver, you provide a cleaner under them, you will motivate them, you'll give a chance to them to interact with the management, to put their point in front of the supervisor or the manager, then obviously they will also feel motivated. They'll also try that they can add value to the company, as the productivity in their case will also be improved. So what are the performance indicator? The performance indicator here is the productivity of the employees, or you can say profit per employee can be seen as a performance measure. In case of the truck driver, the cost per kilometer can be seen. Apart from that, you can say that on-time deliveries can be seen as one of the measure. Okay. So some of my friends keep on replying while I'm explaining these points to you. Very good for them. But I didn't read your points or give you much opportunity to add the points. Why? Because I wish to save some time here. This question is an easy question. Only you need to read the fact and apply your general knowledge, apply your knowledge of the HR domain, that how the HR activities can be improved, how the dissatisfaction among the employee can be dealt. Okay. Some other point can also be written. Likewise, what the job specification need to be described, and then skill mapping need to be done. Means the job shall be given to that person who's having the equivalent number of the skill or required skill, etc. Okay. So I feel this point is done. We are done with the performance prism. Now we are moving to the next model, which is very, very important. Friend, the next model which we need to start is the TBL, triple bottom line. Prior to read the notes, I'll take you to some pictures and some of the discussion in the form of story. Okay. Now quickly understand the story. I tell you story in the two part. The first part of the story. In the year 1987, what happened? World Commission on Environment and Development conducts a convention, and in the convention they mention that it's very important to consider the environment, and the huge amount of loss to the environment is due to the business houses. Hence, business houses need to change their mentality. But business houses cannot be directly controlled. Hence, the countries in which these business houses are working must be put under the onus. Onus means under the responsibility that they will look after their business houses, that business houses not perform such an activity which lead to major deterioration of the environment. This commission, later on known as the Brundtland Commission, this commission, when signed the white paper, in the white paper they used the term, the name of term is sustainable development. I strongly believe that all of you heard this term prior to right now. What does basically sustainable development means? Sustainable development means meeting the need of the current time in such a manner that we are not harming the probability of meeting the need of future generation. It means you need to use least possible in order to meet the current need, so that the future generation can also meet their need. Agreed? This is the sustainable development. So, what John Ellington did, John Ellington basically did nothing but utilize this term to give the concept of triple bottom line. In the year 1994, he published various papers in the different journal where he tried to emphasize on this concept, the triple bottom line. What he says, now the second part of story. This gentleman said in year 1994 that the business need to be sustainable rather than profitable. It is not important to be profitable, it is important to be sustainable. If the business is sustainable, only then we can say it is doing the sustainable development. It's growing in the sustainable way. Now the question arises, how a business said to be sustainable? A business is said to be sustainable when it takes sustainable decision. Now the next question arises, when it will be said that business is taking the sustainable decision? This gentleman mentioned a business is said to be sustainable or taking the sustainable decision if their decision result in profit, result in positive social value and positive environment value. What does it mean? It means Ellington says, don't judge the success of any project from the amount of profit you earn. Apart from profit, you must also consider what impact your project make on the people, what impact your project has or have on the planet. It means instead of considering one bottom line, here I must tell you revenue is mentioned or considered as a top line and profit is mentioned as bottom line. Hence, rather than considering only one bottom line, which is a profit, you are considering two other bottom lines. One is the people and third one is the planet perspective. Hence, how many bottom line you are considering? 3 bottom lines. So that's why the name of concept is triple bottom line. Agreed or not? So what is the triple bottom line? Triple bottom line is a viewpoint which consider the society as well as environment as important as the finances. It is considering that how much of the cost you are incurring, how much of the revenue you are earning, how much of the growth in the sale and the profit you are recording. But apart from that, it also consider what the charitable objective you are fulfilling in the form of the corporate social responsibility, how you are doing the work for the betterment of society in the manner opting the mean of the fair trade, whether you are working for your staff or your nearby localities or the local resident. Here you need to notice one point, friend. If some program is opted by company for its employee, it will come under the social aspect, social perspective, social dimension. It will not come under the profit dimension. If there is some training conducted of the employee so that their productivity enhances, no doubt it will come under the profit. It will come under the economic perspective. But if a facility of crutch is provided to the employee, because the women employee are large in the number, then obviously it will fall under the social perspective. It will not fall under the profit perspective. So don't make such a view that anything which is done internally or deals with the employee will come under the profit objective. No, not at all. You need to see whether the thing which has been done has a social importance or lead to enhancement of the profit. If it is done with the perspective of enhancement of the profit, if it is done as economic activity, then it will come under the economic perspective. But if it is done with an perspective of improving or adding the social value, then it will come under the social perspective. I'll make my point clear once again to you. Employee are nothing but also the representative of the local resident who are substantially interested in the company because they are earning their livelihood. But ultimately, they are representing whom? Local residents. Hence, they are also part of society. But they are major active stakeholder, whereas rest are passive stakeholder. Agreed? So, employees, if covered under some scheme which is also available to the society, then those employees will also cover under the social perspective. Those elements need to be reported under the social perspective. Don't worry, when we're solving question, I'll show you one case of this, because this is a common mistake which is usually committed by the student. Okay. Then what come under the environmental perspective? How much of the resources you are consuming? Consume less resources if the resources are non-renewable in the nature. If renewable in the nature, they can be produced again, then you can use them in a free manner. Further, how you are using the land, whether you are depleting or reducing the value of a land or not, you need to see it. It means in order to compute the agriculture cost, you also add the cost in the reduction of the land utility. This shall also be added. This is the viewpoint of the triple bottom line. Triple bottom line has a broader view. Triple bottom line stop the thinking about the profit. It start thinking about the full cost. Full cost means also including the cost which you incur through your action on the environment as well. Not only inside the organization, not only the cost which you incur on the employee, but also the cost which you incur in form of the deterioration of the environment. Agreed? How you are managing your waste? If you are incurring some sort of this treatment cost or not, this will need to be reported at. Okay. Now I believe that you understand some of the point. We can read the note and we can solve one examination question. Then we'll again come back on this particular page. Okay. Now read along with me. Good, Ravi Teja. Very good. You explained very well about the sustainable development. Good. Friend, now read along with me. British business author John Brett Ellington in the year 1994 coined the term TVL. But the origin of the concept actually lies in the Brundtland report. You need not to remember the name of this commission, Brundtland Commission. Okay. But you need to remember the name of this gentleman, Ellington, by the World Commission on the Environment and Development, now known as Brundtland Commission, published in the year 1987. in which word sustainable development is explained. That is nothing but the development that meet the need of the present without compromising the ability to meet the need of the future generation. Further, to measure the performance of a business decision in the economic term, we only consider one bottom line, that is the profit. But in order to consider whether the business decision is sustainable or not, what we need to do, we need to consider three bottom lines. What are those? Profit, planet, and people. Further, these three also known as dimension of the triple bottom line. Basically, triple bottom line is nothing but a way forward. Way forward to what? Way forward than the normal financial reporting. It is the advanced way of reporting. It is the sustainable reporting. Agreed? It means the TBL is taking the advanced view of business reporting rather than just reporting the financial fact. You are also reporting your environment footprint, your impact upon the society. Some of my friends may be from Uttarakhand, and if not from Uttarakhand, knowing that Uttarakhand is also one of the states in India where the largest dam is there, known as Tehri Dam. The Tehri Dam causes the, you can say that, migration of more than 10 lakh of the people from the top hills to the plain. So there is a huge social impact of some project that is need to be reported. Okay, friends. Now some point which you need to care about. The first point which you need to care about. Here the word economic is used. Financial is not used. Now you may ask, sir, what is the difference between the economic and financial? On the 25th anniversary of Triple Bottom Line, the author himself, John Ellington, wrote an article and says we need to change our opinion how we look to the triple bottom line. In that, he specifically mentioned that I noticed that many of firms start here talking about the finances rather than the economy. Economy is a wider thing than the finances. Finances only include those values which are in the money term, which are monetary in the nature. But whereas economy include those elements also which are in a quantifiable as well as qualitative fact. For example, the unit of the closing stock is an economic fact, but it is not a financial fact. Due to the money measurement concept, whenever we need to read in the write in the books of accounts, we write it in the form of the value. So this point you need to notice. This point you need to consider critically. If this thing asks that three of the dimension are the society, environment, and the financial, then you need to write specifically the third dimension is not a financial, it is the economic aspect. Okay. Now we are moving to the examination question. This is nothing but simply explain that what are the things covered under the environment. It is nothing environment, effect, and ecological footprint. What are the things comes under the social equity, the human capital, the human rights, ethical behavior of the business, and what comes under the profitability, the value which you add to the shareholder. Now read this question along with me. And I need answer from you. I will not answer this. I need answer from you, and it's quite simple. You can easily score 5 marks in the examination. Very, very, very simple question. Read the question along with me. Triple bottom line recognize that company's performance should not only be viewed in terms of its ability to generate economic profit from its owner. Absolutely fine. Don't see how much of the profit you earn for the shareholder, but also by its impact on the people and the planet. For its long-term economic and social viability. Long-term economic and social viability means sustainability. Further, XYZ has recently undertaken following initiative towards the sustainability. You require to identify the dimension to which they belong or relate. First activity, reduce the amount of plastic usage in the peanut butter jar. This company may be selling the peanut butter, and in the jar which they are using to pack the peanut butter, they reduce the amount of the plastic. What sort of step it is? Quickly answer me. Is it people, planet, or profit? Is it related to people or planet or profit? Economic, social, or environmental? Which one it is? I need answer from you quickly. And don't stop after writing the answer for the first one. Write the answer for all 5. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth, and this is the 5th one. I'm waiting for your response. If you answer right, it means you understand the concept. Good. First one, environment. Good, Anjali. Raman, absolutely fine. Good. I'll wait for the answer from the other candidates too. I'm going to write it here. This thing deals with the planet. Okay. Now the second one. Provide financial support to the hospital run by the local authority in the vicinity of the factory. It means in the area nearby to the factory, some hospital is running and we are providing the financial support to them. Nothing but the CSR simply. Under which head it will move? Are we supporting ourselves, our profit? No. We are supporting what? Society. So it will move under people. Good. Preeti, very well. Hema, good. Ravi Teja, fine. Chavi, you are also answering good. Right as well. 1, 2. Which one you are answering? Someone answer all 5. It's Anjali from Punjab. Very good. Good, Rajay. Absolutely fine. Now read the third along with me. Construct solar powered warehouse. Which one? The solar powered. It means you are trying to use sun as a source of energy. Non-renewable or renewable. It's a renewable source. You can use it again and again, n number of times. It means you are taking the action in the interest of the environment, in the interest of the planet. So again, it is the planet. Very good. Further, fourth one, generated profit for the company's shareholder. You are generating the profit for the company shareholder. It's purely profit. It's clear-cut mention. Then the last one, started child care unit for the benefit of the women employee as well as for the neighboring community. It means it is not done only in order to meet the requirement under the Factory Act. Because the Factory Act says that if there are 50 or 100 number of the women employed, then you need to give the then you need to give this facility of the crutch. So you are not doing it for the legal requirement. You are doing it in order to add the value to the society. Because we are doing it in order to add the value to the society, hence obviously we need to report it under the people perspective or society perspective of the triple bottom line. I hope the question is clear to you. Everyone, Hema, Jayashri, Raman, Anjali, Chavi, Ravi Teja, Preeti, I hope it is clear to you. Friends, but obviously this question has been already asked in the examination to you. So similar question you will not get. You'll get now bit advanced question. Now what sort of the question is possible? Let me first tell you that. Then I'll take you to practice another question. There is another question with me, which we'll practice together. Okay. This is the question which we'll study and practice based upon the TBL. But prior to that, the important discussion, that which category of question can be asked. Let's take an example. There is a project which is acceptable or provide positive result from the profit aspect. Also provide positive result from the people aspect, but has negative result from the planet aspect. Obviously, we will not accept the project, but it may be asked, what is the nature of the project? If any project which is profitable, means economy is there, which is in interest of society, but not in interest of planet. It means it fall here, something here. And what sort of the project it is? It is mentioned here. It is not sustainable project. It is only equitable project. Agreed? There is another project which is profitable, but not in the favor of society, but not harming the planet. Means यहाँ पे okay है, यहाँ पे okay नहीं है, यहाँ पे okay है. So economy, it's fine. Environment, it's fine. So this project is viable, but not sustainable. So there is another project, third project. Profit is not there. There is a loss, but it is in interest of society. It is in interest of the environment. Then in that case, it is bearable. It means someone has to bear the heat. Someone has to bear the cost, but it is not sustainable. There is a fourth project which will yield you the profit, which has a positive social value, which has a positive environmental value. Then this project will become sustainable. Then it may possible in examination, you may get a question where it is mentioned that the project is yielding the profit but has an anti-social value, but has a positive environment value. Is it a sustainable? Then you need to mention, no, it is not sustainable, it is equitable. Or it may possible that the four projects are given to you for which the data is given to you, whether it has a positive social impact, negative environment impact, or positive environment impact. So what you need to do, you need to categorize them. Which one is equitable, which one is viable, which one is bearable, and which one is sustainable. Agreed? Now, friends, now, Preeti, just give me a minute. I'll come back to your doubt. Okay? Just give me a minute. So now, friends, here one more thing you need to learn. And what is that element which you need to learn here? That you need to identify, based upon the fact given in question, whether the business is bearable, equitable, or viable, or sustainable. Agreed? But in order to understand this, let me give you one example for every case. What are the cases which are equitable? Can you suggest me what are the cases which are equitable? Or I will give you example. Okay, I'll give you the example, then you also give me one example. The plastic bags, which we use as a carry bag basically. The carry bag of whether more than 35 micron or less than 35 micron or 15 micron or 20 micron. Because after the 1st of April 2017, the use of plastic bag is banned in India, which is of less than some 20 or 35 micron, depending upon the different states. But do it has a negative public value? Answer is no. For people, it's convenient to use the plastic bag. No doubt, the other bag is also equally convenient, but no one usually carries the bag when they go to buy the vegetables. So for them, the plastic bag is very much easy to manage and operate. For companies who are producing these plastic bags, for them, it's also good. For it's beneficial. They are making good profit out of that. But it don't has a positive planet value. So that's why we need to stop the use of the plastic bag. Because using the plastic bag may be equitable, but it is not sustainable. Because not sustainable, hence we need to drop the idea. But now you need to tell me, you need to give me one example of equitable. Quickly give me the example. Quickly give me one example of equitable. If you not able to give me the example, I'll give you one more. In the meantime, I'll take you to the second category. What is the second category? There is a profit here. There is a profit. There is a positive environment value, but there is a negative social value. Is there any business of such a nature? Yes. The business of cigarettes and the tobacco, etc. These are considered as social evil and shall not be used. I'm only talking about cigarette and tobacco. I'm not talking about the wine here, because in some of the culture it is acceptable, in some of the culture it is not. So don't take it to the social aspect. We are just considering here from our academic preview. Okay. So people who are selling the cigarettes, making good money, like ITC Indian Tobacco Company, it's not harming much to the environment, not in a very greater manner, but it causes social disturbance. After consuming this narcotics, etc., the person who is under the effect of this drug or etc. may create some kind of a problem. Although drug is banned, but cigarette is not banned. Some other tobacco product is not banned. These also lead to a situation where a person becomes a bit unconscious. Maybe or may not be. I don't have much knowledge about this, but this may be possible. So this may fall under the category of viable business. The business is viable. It's not harming the planet. We can continue it for a longer period. It is not has a bad impact on the finances, but it has a bad impact on the society. So it's not a sustainable business. Okay. So another example for the equitable I'll give you, that is the crackers. Recently, the NGT put a ban that no cracker will be burst up till the 30th of November. Why? Because people love to see when someone bursts the cracker or they themselves fire the cracker. And it's also profitable for the Coke, Krishna, Vadivel, and different brands of the cracker manufacturing firms. But it is not in the interest of the planet. Okay. So friends, it may be possible that there are many things which are equitable, viable, or bearable, but not the sustainable. Those things need to be slowly eliminated out of the use in order to lengthen the, you can say that, quality of the life. Okay. So this thing is there. It may be possible that the diagram which I prepared not clearly visible to you. So what I did, I put it in a very sensible manner so that you can click a picture of this as well. Okay. Now we are moving to the question. But as I mentioned that, yes, mining industry, good. As I mentioned that I'll answer the question of the Preeti. Preeti mentioned that in the last question, can we take installation of the solar warehouse under the profitability? Preeti, we need to see that large connection is where, or substantial aspect related to which perspective. Substantially, the purpose of installing the solar is not only to reduce the cost, it also lead the environmental benefit. But no doubt in the triple bottom line, the subjectivity may be involved. By writing down a proper reason, you can consider it in some else dimension too. Even the question which we are going to solve now, in the point number 8 and 9, you will face the similar issue. So solve this question with me. It may help you to get the more clarity. Okay. Now read this particular question, and I am hopeful for this. The Caregiver Limited is a multi-specialty hospital in the mid-sized town. A 300-bedded facility or 300 plus bedded facility offers the treatment across all the medical discipline of the cardiac, oncology, medical, surgical, radiotherapy, neurology, and urology, then nephrology, kidney transplant, and so on. The various diseases are mentioned, or the various treatment are mentioned for which this hospital provides the service. So they simply mention that this hospital is a multi-specialty hospital. Further, most of the community members have their livelihood linked with the hospital. This is very important. It means the employee and society are not much different to each other, because the nearby community, which is a society, are for their livelihood depends upon this hospital. Many of them are directly employed at the hospital as doctor, nursing staff, lab technician, or as other sports staff, while other are indirectly related as a supplier of the medical devices or drugs to the hospital, catering or housekeeping contractor. It means some are the professional, some are the supplier, but largely they are dependent upon this particular hospital further. Hence, existence of the hospital is vital to the community. Growing awareness about sustainable business promoted the management to identify the area that can help the hospital to operate in the sustainable manner. That would be mutually beneficial to both the organization as well as the town that depends upon it. It means if the organization is work in the sustainable manner, it will improve the growth prospect, the stability prospect of the company, as well as it's also give a boost to the nearby locality people because they are dependent upon the hospital. Further, therefore, it has identified that the initiative that have been put in place to create the sustainable business. The moment you read the sustainable business now, it means question is bit related to TVL. Further, the information captured from the various departments are being considered to prepare the triple bottom line report that is for the consumption both to internal and external stakeholder. Please mind it. The company not prepare some of the time entire sustainability report. They only prepare the TBL report in which they mention the various action taken during the year and its relation to the different dimension. And this may become a part of this kind of a chart, may become a part of your annual report, means may be reported to external stakeholder as well apart from internal. Okay. So now read the requirement. Identify which of the following aspects need to be reported in the TBL report, and if need to be reported under which of the three category it is need to be reported, and also provide the reason for the classification, why you put under that particular aspect under the specific category if applicable. Okay, so there are some activities are given to us. Now we need to classify these. Friend, read the first activity. Medical staff conducts charity camps every month, open for all members of the community who are provided with the consultation free of charge. So there is a medical camp in which any person from the community can come and avail the medical facility. You need to tell me whether it's people, planet, or profit. Quickly answer. Is it the social dimension, environmental dimension, or economic dimension? I'm waiting for your responses, friend. Quickly answer. To which dimension it relates? I'm waiting for your response. Because from your response only I am able to understand that whether you get the thing or not. Okay. Good. Anjali, good. Raman, well done. Hema also right. Preeti is also right. So the first thing we are going to put under the social aspect or under the people. And what is the reason of putting it under the people dimension or the social dimension? Because the people from community will be benefited and it's open for all. It's not only for those member of community who are associated with the hospital in the form of the doctor or the suppliers. It's open for everyone and it's a free of charge. So it means they are not doing any sort of their own economic benefit. They are provide the service free of cost. Okay. So now moving to the second one. Prompt and accurate tax payment based upon the record maintained without error or fraud. Under which head it is need to be reported? Is it related to people? Answer is no. It is not related to people. No doubt you will pay money to the government in form of tax. Then government will incur that money in form of a public welfare. The government will incur for the public welfare, but you are not incurring for the public welfare. What is the tax? Tax is the compulsorily extortion. It's a vasuli which you need to pay. Are you caring about the environment? Answer is no. Then under which head it will fall? It will fall under the economic head. Okay. Now moving further. Quickly keep on responding, friends. Third one. What is your answer or stand on the third one? Caregiver with the help of the traffic police has implemented a green corridor for the ambulances that carry the donor organ for the transportation. In the last 3 months in India, 2 incidences took place where in less than 3 hours, the organ transported from one city of one state to the another city of another state, and successfully the organ transplant conducted and the life of the 2 people saved. So this thing is really in the you can say that heated topic nowadays. Good. Some of my friends are answering further on. Only due to the lower net connectivity, their answer reaching to me at some later you can say that time than it should be. But they are answering well. I'm waiting for answer to the third part, friends. Quickly answer me. Caregiver with the help of traffic police implemented green corridor for the ambulance that carried the donor organ for the transplantation. Organ harvested from the one donor at one hospital can reach to the another hospital. The organ is not reaching to caregiver only. It's to everyone. It means they are not doing it for themselves. They are doing it for the larger benefit. Greater good is there. Good. Anjali, absolutely fine. Raman, fine. Jayashri, good. Raviteja, good. So it will fall under the people or the social dimension. Now answer the fourth one quickly. Fourth one, medical waste is discarded at a landfill in the nearby dump site. Some of the waste are not biodegradable. What they say? Medical waste, which is not degradable by itself. Discarded, not as it is. It is filled in the land, in the dump site. So to which perspective it is related? The waste is dumped. Obviously, it is related to the good. Planet, fine. Hema is good, Raviteja is good. Both are fine. It's related to your environment perspective, planet. Okay, friends. Now moving to the fifth one. During the review of the supplier for the housekeeping service, it was observed that the service provided restored to the child labor to keep the cost of operation low. So you don't have a maintenance staff. You outsource the maintenance of the hospital to some external person, like the washing of the bed sheets or the washing of the clothes, etc. You give it on an outsourced basis to some external party. And you identified that washerman took the help of the child labor in order to wash the clothes so that he can keep his cost low and make more money. Now this issue come into your notice. Ultimately, you are doing what? You are supporting the child labor. This will need to be reported. Under which head it will be reported? Someone answered social and people. Fine. Ravi Teja and the Hima again. Although the remaining friends also answer for the point number 4. Anjali, Muthalakshmi, Raman. Absolutely fine. Good. So it will fall under the people. Fifth is under the people or the society. Now read the sixth one. Training and professional development program for doctor and nurses. Friends, as we already mentioned, that if you are doing something for your staff, will not put it under the economic aspect or under the profit aspect, will put it under the social aspect. And understand one more thing. If you train your doctor and the nurses, and if they leave the caregiver hospital, obviously that learning which they get from the training will remain with them. And largely the doctor and nurses are from the nearby society. So you are upgrading the skill of the society, nothing else. So this will also fall under the social dimension or under the dimension of people. Many of my friends answered it correctly. Fine. Great. Now to the 7th. Lab report are being made available online. Preeti, here you need to be focused because the question which you asked now has a relevance here as well. Lab report are being made available online within the hospital computer system. This would reduce the printing cost and storage space needed to maintain the older record. You can see it from two angles. The first angle, reduction in the cost. This is maybe the possible view you are taking of this particular point. But one can take a view why it will take less space to maintain the older record, because you are maintaining the record online. It means you are not printing out the report. Because you are not printing out the report, hence you are not consuming the paper and cartridge. Since you are not consuming the paper and cartridge, it means it has positive environment value. But one can say you are reducing your printing cost. Hence, it shall be considered under the profit. Although in the answer, the institute consider it under the environment aspect due to less use of the paper and the cartridge. But in both way, it can be considered. If you able to justify why it should be taken under the, rather the word profit, economic, although the profit word is equally fine. If you able to justify it, it should be taken under the economic, then it's also fine. So if any of my friend willing to take 7th point under the environment or under the profit, means economy, both are correct. There is nothing wrong in it because it has a 2 dimension. But understand, friends, when we need to answer in such a situation, now we need to see which is a primary action. Which one is primary action? Start printing the reports online. The moment you start printing the reports online, you are consuming less paper. This is a primary activity. Because you are consuming less paper, hence you need not to buy the paper, due to which the cost is saved. So saving of the cost is nothing but mere as an byproduct or an outcome of the primary decision, which is not to print the report. So if you ask me to categorize it, then obviously I'll give more importance to the primary act, because the classification shall be based upon the primary act. And if we use the primary act, then it must go under the environment. Agreed? So, Muthulakshmi, I feel you agree with the explanation and may ready to change the answer. And from the Tirabandram, yes, you can use either of the word planet, people, or profit, or rather than these, you can also use the environmental, social, and the economic. Anything is acceptable. Although you need to maintain the uniformity while answering. If you start with the 3 P's, then you continue answering with the 3 P's. But if you start with the environment, then economic, then social, then you keep continuing with that. Okay. But here the purpose is to let you understand the concept. So that's why. But still apologies. I'll also try to maintain the uniformity in data. Okay, friends. Now the eighth point. Caregiver has a good track record of having no medical negligences or negligence litigation cases filed against it. Now understand this thing very carefully. If no litigation filed against you for negligence, it means the quality of the service is acceptable to your clients or the patients. Obviously, client and patients are from nearby society or local residents. It means your services quality is good. You are rendering good quality services to the society or nearby society, because this thing is mentioned in the question as well. That is the largest one, 300 bed plus hospital in the area, only in area. So it shall be considered from this aspect. Hence, here the social or the people perspective can be considered. Okay. The ninth, hospital is planning to market the medical checkup package. It is just planning. It's not executed yet. So that facility in the outpatient department can be utilized better. Is the planning has any impact? You are making plan that you will start studying 10 hours a day. Whether it will improve your academic performance, you make plan, you make a timetable and you put it on the study desk. Whether it will improve, unless otherwise you don't execute, it will not. Hence, we are only planning here. So there is no impact. Okay. You might forget the requirement of the question. So that's why it's always important to remember the requirement. What they say? Which of the following aspect need to be reported? It means koi na koi to aisi item hai which is need not to be reported. So you need to consider this fact critically. So the point number 9 is need not to be reported, because right now we are only in the planning stage. We are not executed, so there will be no impact up till now. Okay. Further, the number of inpatient hospital death decreased from 8 to decreased 8% from 776 to 750. So death decreases. Obviously, it means the service provided by the hospital is good, or the quality of service is good, or there is an technological upgradation, or the doctors are treating the clients in a very sensible manner. And clients are nothing but you can say that representing the society or coming from the local resident. So hence it will also fall under the people or the social. I hope the question is clear to you. If any doubt, you can ask me, else we are moving to the next concept. Good, Chavi. Very good. The explanation is correct. Good. Raman, fine. Hema, fine. Muthu, Lakshmi, also fine. Very good. From Madurai. Yes. Friend, now understand this thing. A small topic, and afterward that we'll take a break. And after coming from the break, we'll start learning about the benchmarking. And there is a one good question on a benchmarking. Benchmarking has not been tested so far. So it may be possible that you find the question, but if you find the question from the benchmarking, obviously it will be a 20 marks question. Done. So benchmarking is an important topic, but in between, this is a small topic. Let me explain this topic for you. When we started the discussion for the chapter number 8, we say, firstly, we need to understand the organization structure. Okay. We need to identify in which manner the organization is established, whether there are different divisions, division 1, division 2, so that we can put the responsibility on the manager of division 1 and 2 and then make them responsible, make them accountable. After studying the organization structure, we need to consider these division or function as a separate responsibility center. Some as cost center, some as revenue center. So the responsibility can be assigned, like to some we allocate the budget of cost, to some we allocate the budget of sale accordingly. The third step is what? All the processes are not critical. Hence, the performance of all activity or processes need not to be measured. Performance only of the critical success factors need to be measured. And in order to measure the performance of critical success factor against each critical success factor, like liquidity is a critical success factor, against each critical success factor, we need to establish KPI, key performance indicator. Like in case of the banking company, the liquidity shall be 10%. Likewise, the cash reserve ratio 3.75%, or some other ratio, maybe like 6%, maybe 10%, maybe some else percent. Any number may be there. Similar way, if you willing to evaluate the performance of some company, firstly, you need to see the organization structure, whether there are division or function. Once you identify, okay, there are different functions, you see whether it is a cost function or a revenue function. Okay, you identify it is a cost function. It's a painting division in the automobile company. Now to the painting division, you allocate the budget. How much of the cost they are incurring? They should not incur more cost than that, the cost which you allocate to them. It means the operating cost. So you give them a target that you should not incur more than that. The target which you give them, that is the KPI. And you consider the painting division as your critical success factor. Because when a person buys the car, he usually see that what kind of the finishing it has. What sort of the steel inside is used, he is not having much connection to that. He buy the car based upon the review. Okay, the review of car is good, the brand is good, I must buy the car. Maybe some of the people have their own perspective to buy the car. But largely the look matters. So the paint, what sort of paint, what is the finishing of the paint, that matters. So you consider it a critical success factor, but some other company may not consider it a critical success factor. So it means in order to achieve the objective of the company, what you need to do? You need to break down the organization processes and then identify which of the processes are critical and which of the processes are non-critical. Those which are critical, against them, you need to fix the target and see whether that target is achieved or not. So these critical activities are nothing but the critical success factor. These targets are nothing but the KPI, key performance indicator. For example, the profitability for any organization may be critical to succeed, to obtain the successes. Now, in order to measure the profitability, which indicator you will use? You may use the ROI or RM or anything else. Okay. Now read this along with me quickly and then we'll move further. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, that third phase of, okay, someone sent the query. Don't worry, I'll read your query. Let me complete this topic. Prior to moving on a break, I'll read your query. Okay. Or discuss your query with you. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, the third phase of the performance management system. If you study notes which I shared with you now, this is likewise note number 10. In the note number 1, the processes are given. So you must refer the notes of class which was conducted on 4th or 6th of December. You need to check. Okay. In that we covered the first note. There the steps are mentioned. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, the third phase of the performance management include establishment of the performance measures, both financial and non-financial. So this is the third step, that you need to do what? You need to identify the critical success factor, and against each critical success factor, you need to establish the target. the target for each measure. Hence, mere selecting the measure will not solve the problem. It means just by identifying the KPI, you will not obtain the objective. What you need to do, the scope of measure also of utmost importance. Now read these two paragraphs along with me. The performance measure also or shall target the areas which are vital for the attainment of the strategic objective. These areas are known as critical success factor. It means if organization follow n number of processes, don't try to focus on all processes. Just try to focus on the critical success factors or those activities which are value added in the nature. Further, the fourth and the last phase of the performance management system is the review of the performance with the help of the KPI dashboard. KPI dashboard I already explained to you while teaching you the balanced scorecard. Okay, and take the corrective action because you identified that your liquidity is not at par. It is required. What you need to do, you need to obviously perform some corrective action. Some new liquidity need to be inserted, capital need to be infused. Hence, mere identification of critical success factor and establishing the target in form of KPI will not do anything. What you need to do, you need to keep a check on the KPI on the real-time basis. And if you find that you are not attaining the target, you must take a corrective step. If I need to sum up these three paragraphs in short, what I need to say? All activities are not important. Only value-added activities are important. Hence, you must measure the performance of value-added activity, and those activities are known as critical success factor. Second point, critical success factors performance need to be measured by establishing some target. So the person who is responsible for those value-added activities, they need to be provided with some target, and we must keep continually see whether they attain the target or not. If they not, then obviously we need to take a corrective step. So the summary is mentioned that CSF and KPI not the same thing. They are the different thing. The CSF are the critical factors, whereas the KPI are nothing but the signals or the targets. Okay. Now, three conclusion, and then we'll go on a break. The first conclusion, critical success factor are the true source of competitive advantage. Who said this particular thing? This is said by John F. Rocket. What the John F. Rocket said? He simply mentioned, for any organization to succeed, critical success factor need to be identified. So he wrote a paper in the March 1979 in which he, in order to illustrate, identify the critical success factor for three industries: automobile, supermarket, and government hospital. Government hospital is not for profit organization because it's a government hospital, not a private hospital. Okay. Whereas this automobile industry and the supermarket industry are the for profit organization. So he established the relation between the critical success factor and organization objective. He simply mentioned that by establishing the critical success factor, the organization objective can be achieved. So I request you to click the screenshot of this particular topic. You need to revise it, take it as a homework. This is nothing but the additional work, although you need not to remember it for the paper or for your examination, but you need to understand one conclusion. And what is that conclusion? The conclusion is critical success factor are the true source of competitive advantage. By working on the critical success factor, you can attain the objective which will lead you to the competitive advantage. Okay. The next point, relationship between the KPI, critical success factor, and corporate objective. This is already we understood that if we attain the target, it means we are doing good in relation to the critical success factor. If we are doing good on the critical success factor, it means our corporate objectives are achieved. Further, the KPI and objective shall be SMART. The SMART principle is not basically given by George T. Daron. George T. Doran only make this statement. The SMART principle is given by Peter F. Drucker, who is influenced by Frederick Winslow Taylor. According to him, whether your target or your objectives, that is need to be SMART. Now, what is the full form of SMART? It must be specific, because if they are not clear, then to whom you assign the objective or the target may not able to achieve it. It must be measurable, quantifiable. Only then you able to realize whether you achieved it or not. It must be achievable. Otherwise, person will feel demotivated. Then further, it must be relevant to the person to whom you give it. For example, if you give the task to someone, that person must be able to control the activity which is related to the task. The person shall be responsible only for the action which is done by him. The last one, T, the time constraint must be critically or clearly mentioned, that in which time this objective need to be attained or this target need to be attained. It shall not be open-ended. It must be close-ended. This entire discussion is mentioned on a page number 8.37 and 8.38 of your revised study material. Okay, so now we'll go on a break from 801 to 806. But prior to going on a break, let me discuss one query which is sent by Padma Naban. Pardon me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Okay. When the market strategy of the medical package is implemented, resulted the profit, won't it come under the profit? It will come under the profit when impact is there. Right now, we are in the planning stage. Hence, we are not impacting either the profit or the society or the plan. The moment we finalize, okay, we are going to implement it. If it is written that the board of director passed this thing, that this is going to happen from the next step, then obviously a prospective notice can be given that it will enhance the profit or it will improve the social aspect. I hope the query is clear. Friend, now we are taking the break. We'll meet again at the 806. The moment you'll come from the break, we'll start the benchmarking. Okay. There are many important things relating to the benchmarking which we need to discuss. In the meantime, आप नोट्स एक बार स्टडी कर लीजिए. Please come back quickly, those who are still enjoying the break. Although I can understand this 5 minute break is a nothing for you. In this, you can't, you can say that regain that energy, but at least you can stretch your body and regain that much amount of energy that you can continue with the remaining portion of the lecture. Friend, these are the questions in front of you. There are around 27 or 28 questions in this chapter, which were there in the either RTP or the previous papers, or you can say the MTP, etc., or in the study material. So up till now, we reached here. We reached here up till this 22 number, and we done up till this caregiver question. And the target for this class is to cover another question, which is on a benchmarking, which is a single question in the entire study material or the MTP or RTP, which is important as well. And then the remaining 4 questions will try to cover, 4 or 5 questions we'll try to cover in the next class. So you can see here this particular Excel sheet that none of the question will left. No doubt, 3 questions I gave you as a homework, but I read the statement for the same as well, and then only expect from you that you'll you can say that try to solve those questions. But still, if any of friend feel that any question is critical, you can put it in this query box, so that in the next lecture we'll spare a minute or a 2 or a 5 in order to discuss about the same as well. Okay, friends. Now let me take you to the benchmarking. Don't worry, we'll cover everything. No doubt, due to the shortage of the time, and in order to do the concept which we are doing in a very well manner, or in a sensible manner, or in the detailed manner, if any of a question I gave you as a homework, but I gave only those questions which you can easily do at your own. Okay. So, friends, the next concept or the topic which we need to learn is a benchmarking. The topic is given from page 8.27 to 8.33 of the older study material, whereas in case of the revised study material, it is given from the page number 8.39 to the 8.45. Okay. Now, prior to starting this topic, let me tell you a small story about the company called Rank Xorex. Although the name of the company is now only the Xorex, earlier the name was Rank Xorex. And prior to that, the name is Xorex itself. Xorex made the merger with the Rank Corporation and become Rank Xorex. Later on, it changed its name to the Xorex. Okay. Now understand the story. Prior to this Canon and HP, Xerox was one of the major brands which sells the photocopier. Up till the 1965 or the 70s, you can say that largely they are the market leader. Even though in the year 1972, they own 86% of photocopier market, 86%, a huge number. But in a decade's time, at the end of the year 1980, their market share reduced to the 17%, 17. They feel it very sad that what they are not doing in a proper manner, where they are lagging behind. Then they realize that some of the new companies accelerating in one or other way, in a 1 or a 2 function, but the Rank Xorex or the Xerox not able to perform the process in that manner. So they feel that their processes, their functions are outdated. What the Rank Xorex did, they conduct a study, and after conducting the study, they identify that they produced the process, photocopier basically, in such a manner that out of 10 lakh unit, there are around 30,000 defects. Although you know that this 30,000 defect in the 10 lakh unit are quite a high. So in order to improve, they start looking for those companies which are performing better than the Rank Xorex. They identify American Express. in order to improve their billing, because they felt that American Express billed and tried to collect within the 15-day, whereas the rank Xorex failed to do so. So in regard to the billing and the collection process, they try to process, or they try to copy the process or follow the process what is being followed at the American Express. Then regarding the quality, they copy the Toyota. Although I'm using the word copy, but it is not appropriate word. The word shall be benchmark, but right now I'm not taking you the benchmark. In order to understand the story, I'm using a light word or a layman word, copy. But copy is a nothing. It has a no professional utility, this word. Okay. So in order to improve their quality, they try to be like Toyota or copy the process of the Toyota. And so on, they identify the other company. Like in the case of the research, they identify the HP. In case of the manufacturing operation, they find Fuji Xorex as a good player. And then they find the DuPont for the manufacturing safety. So similar way, they identified 230 processes at their operation, which is need to be improved. Now, let me link it to you. Many a time in your childhood, you face one prominent question and one prominent statement. What is the prominent question? Kiski tarah banna chahte ho? Who is your role model? And the second prominent situation which you might face, in my case, I face this one. The parents or the elders used to ask, look at that boy or a girl. How brilliant she or he is. He is performing well in the academics and the extracurricular. Why you can't be like him or her? So if your parents or the seniors or the elders or the guardian ask you this way, that why you can't be like him or her, it means they are asking you to do the benchmarking. They ask you to be like him or her. If you face the first question, who is your role model? It means someone asking you to whom you wish to copy. You wish to likewise, who is your role model, to whom you wish to copy, or kiski tarah banna chahte ho? It means they are asking you who is your benchmark partner, where you want to reach. Agreed or not? So benchmarking is not only a cost or the performance measurement technique. It's everywhere in a day-to-day life as well as in the business operation. So the example of the rank Xorex was a business example, but whereas the same can be applied to the personal life as well. Now coming back to the business example of the rank Xorex. Now what happened afterward? They improved their 230 processes. The defect which was earlier 30,000 part per million ppm, it reduced within a gap of the 4.5 years to 150 part per million. It means one, they identify that 230 processes which they are performing, whether it's billing, whether it's collecting the payables from the person to whom they send the material. If they improve these processes, they can no doubt cut down their cost, they can improve their quality, they can improve the customer experience. So they made many improvements. I just mentioned only one here. Don't worry, the other improvements are also mentioned in the box here itself. I'll show you once in order to help you to get the confidence. Here it is. You can see along with me. Once the Xerox applied this benchmarking, they start identifying that who are performing better than them and start performing the process in the manner in which the benchmark company are performing, the benchmark partner is performing. They start noticing the huge improvement. And improvement are like what? Their satisfied customer increased by 38% and 39% in the case of copier and printing system. Means in case of photocopy, earlier whatsoever be number, that number improved by 38%. If earlier only 40% customer are happy, now 78% customer are happy. In case of the printers, if earlier 40% customer are happy, now 79% customer are happy. Further, the customer complaint reduced by 60%. Further, the customer satisfaction increased, then customer overall satisfaction or rating improves, the number of defect reduces, then the service response time reduces, the inspection cost reduces, defect of incoming part also reduced because they start checking and start buying from that particular person only who provide the part in the good nature and the mechanism. Inventory cost reduce, the marketing productivity enhances. So these are multiple benefits written, which I'll not read again for you because it's a mere reading of the fact which is already mentioned in front of you. So you can yourself see by adopting the benchmarking. Benchmarking is nothing but shifting your process or function or style and design of the product or strategy to the company who is market leader, who is industry leader. You can improve yourself. This is the concept behind the benchmarking. Okay. Now let me take you to some data in order to understand this concept well and also give you some kind of a relaxation from the technical doubts. Okay. Friends, in front of you, the name of 60 company are written. Okay, you simply can see these are the name of the 60 companies which are in the Fortune 500. The first list of the Fortune 500 printed in year 1955. This company were part of the Fortune 500 then. And these companies are still part of Fortune 500. Okay. I got a data of 2017. I didn't get the latest data because in order to see whether the company is there or not, in order to apply the VLOOKUP, it take a lot of time. So that's why I only took the 2017 data in order to let you understand the concept. It means out of the 500 companies, the 440 companies, because 60 companies are here, 440 companies loses the top positions. They not remain the best company anymore. Why they don't remain the best company anymore? The reason is only this: they didn't improve their processes. One need to improve the process, otherwise you will be eliminated out of the market. What happened to the BPL? BPL, a market leader in the television seller in India, but lost the majority of the market when the LED or the LCD based televisions start coming into the market because they couldn't cop up. They can't change their production facilities or manufacturing facilities accordingly. But what else they should do? They must try the benchmarking. If they tried for the benchmarking, then it might be possible that still they may be in the market. Because they never tried for the benchmarking, they don't even try to copy what the other people are doing. While you are not able to produce the LEDs, no doubt your huge amount of cost is invested in such a plant which are based upon the tube-based television. But you need to assign, you need to convert your processes to the new technology. So here the three group of the companies are mentioned. The group A company are those which were there in the Fortune 500 in year 1995, but presently they are not in the Fortune 500 company. So people forgot their names. No one remember their name. They were market leader once. They are not now market leader. Now the group B are those companies which were the Fortune 500 company in the year 1995, and they are also the Fortune 500 now, like the Boeing, like the Colgate-Palmolive, like the IBM, the Kellogg, Procter & Gamble, P&G, Whirlpool is there. The group C are those companies which are in the 2017 list but was not in the 1955 list. What does it mean? It means some of the people, some of the company able to maintain their performance, by keep on improving, by keep on copying the best in the class, best performance. If they themselves are the best, they themselves are trying to improve their performance. But whereas the organization which don't try to improve, continuous improvement is not there, then obviously they will be thrown out of the market and new market leader emerge, such as the Amazon and Facebook, etc. Okay, so this data is only help you to understand one's best will not always a best. Best may change. So one, you identify some company as a benchmark company and copy the process, what is being performed at a benchmark company. And then you move on a restive mode. Then this is not what is suggested. Because if you once benchmark yourself against the company which is best in the class, it may possible that that particular company may not remain best in class anymore. It means obviously the process which you copied from that company obviously not remain best. So what you are doing, that is not best as per current time scenario. Hence, benchmarking is a continuous activity. You can't perform it once. You can't say it, okay, I'll copy the timetable of the rank holder 1 and now I'll become the benchmark. No. The strategy keep on changing. Earlier the paper was subjective, now it's subjective. You need to change your strategy. Earlier the paper are direct based question, now it's a case based question. You need to change your strategy. Now you need to identify another person to whom you can benchmark with. Agreed or not? Now come back to the notes. We'll start reading some of the content and then we'll move to the question. In today's class itself, at least we must reach to the question stage. And if any of the theory left, then we'll study that in the next class. But let me explain the concept of benchmarking to you prior to move to the question. Don't worry, the theory related to the benchmarking we can study in the next lecture. Okay, now read along with me. During the later 1970s and early 1980s, especially the year 1982, when the David T. Kerr, the CEO of the Xerox, took charge, benchmarking formally come into the light. When the Xerox applied the benchmarking with the intent to attain the leadership through quality, because they wish to improve their quality, they wish to remove or reduce these defects. And in order to reduce the defects, they keep on improving by changing their processes, by copying the processes of the best in class companies. But obviously, while copying the processes, they don't only copy the production process, which has a direct relation on the quality, but they work on throughout quality, the quality of the customer services. It means they improve their invoicing process as well also. Okay. So, and to overcome the situation wherein the product had a defect rate of 30,000 ppm to the situation where it has only 150 ppm. So this thing I already explained in the form of the story, and so I believe it is clear to you. Now, next paragraph is important. Due to one reason, I'll tell you. First, read it along with me. The success of benchmarking at the Xerox motivated many a company, even the market leader, to adopt the technique of the benchmarking for improvement. Means Xerox become the first mover. Once Xerox improves dramatically, the other market leaders start doing so. Who among the market leader? Ford, AT&T, Motorola, IBM. And later on, then these companies, these 5 companies, Xerox and these 4 companies, form an organization called International Benchmarking Clearinghouse. This is the important thing you need to understand. Because usually students understand benchmarking and explain it well. Then ask them from where you'll get the data, they don't have an answer. So this is the answer to that. It means some company who are willing to improve by learning the processes from the another, but by also teaching to the other. They are the part of this clearinghouse, and this clearinghouse help you to fetch the data of the other company's processes. Obviously, the member of the clearinghouse loses some amount of confidentiality of its processes. But it is not very easy just to get the data from the clearinghouse. Clearinghouse asks you to enter into the benchmarking agreement. I'll show you. Here is the benchmarking agreement in front of you. You can see it. It will take a minute only in order to load. So what you need to do, you need to enter the benchmark agreement with the benchmarking partner from whom you wish to copy the processes. In front of the clearinghouse or in front of some contract partner. And then you will start getting the data. And then that data can be used in order to improve the processes. And the condition and the terms are clearly mentioned under this, that what will be the data quality, how the information on the performance will be shared, how the documentation will be done. Can it be only two-party benchmarking or it will be multiple-party benchmarking? Who is responsible for the confidentiality? And if it is a multiple benchmarking partner, then how another partner will be added or removed? Because it may be possible that 3 or 4 companies coming together of the same industry and try to work for the industry upliftment through the form of the benchmark. Agreed? So what you are thinking about benchmarking up till now, or what is explained to you regarding the benchmarking, that is only the 10% of actual benchmarking. What is done in the practical life. There is a lot more to discover, but don't worry. ICAI also updated their material, revised their material, but they still keep the discussion limited to the academical sphere. It is not that much deep level to the, you can say that, professional level. It's only up till the academic level. So what we are discussing in the class, that's very much enough. Okay. Now let me take you to the notes back. Now what we need to do, we need to understand the meaning of benchmarking. Then the remaining theory will not study. We'll move to the question, and then we'll try to learn with the help of the question, and then we'll come back and read the theory. Okay. Obviously, it will take us more time, so we'll move into the next class while reading the theory. Okay, friend, please read along with me very, very carefully, because you need not to mug up or you need not to cram. You need to understand this, and it's very easy definition. Benchmarking is a systematic. It means there are steps, and I'll study these steps along with you. There are 12 steps of implementing the benchmarking, and continues. Why it is continuous? Because I mentioned that who is the best today may not be best tomorrow. Hence, you keep continue with your benchmarking effort. You'll not stop. And once you started the benchmarking, and it will continue forever. It will never stop. Xerox, who started the benchmarking in the late 1980. In the year 1982, they formally launched the benchmarking program. In the year 1999, they continued with the benchmarking. And in the year, obviously, era of this 21st century, all the companies not performing that much well, but still they are keep on improving. Why I specifically mentioned year 1999? Because the statement of their customer benchmarking manager is given here, which is given by him in the year 1999. What he mentioned, Mr. Warren Jeffries, he mentioned that benchmarking at the Xerox is still very much a matter of the competitive advantage. It means that they're still giving the importance to the benchmarking. In which year? In year 1999, around 2 decades after when they started for the benchmarking. It used to keep Xerox edge razor sharp. It means it's keep on enhancing the competitive advantage of the Xerox to discover where something is being done with the less time, lower cost, fewer resources, better technology. It means they are still looking for the alternate avenue where they can save the time, where they can reduce the cost, where they can using the less number of resources, where they can improve the technology which they are using. Okay. So benchmarking is systematic and the continuous performance improvement technique. The purpose is to improve the performance. Obviously, in order to improve, we need to measure the current performance as well. Hence, it becomes performance measurement, come performance evaluation, come performance improvement technique. Okay, wherein it is important to identify and adopt the best practices. We are trying to copy the best practices followed by the other player in the market. Okay. In the application, either inside or outside the organization. It may be possible that the Tata Motor learns something from the Tata Steel inside the group. It may be possible that the Tata Motor learns something from some another automobile company, Hyundai or a Hyundai. It may be possible Tata Steel learns something from the Jindal. So it will become an outside organization benchmarking. Okay. One more important element. It's based upon the best practices. It is not based upon the best performance. It may possible some person give one or two performance outstanding. Sometimes happen in cricket now, the bowler or the tailender also scores century. But are they capable to score century always? Are their batting skill are such a good that they can be copied? No. So don't copy best performance. Don't benchmark with the best performance. If you wish to benchmark, then you need to benchmark with the or against the best practices, because practices are SOP based, standardized operating procedure based, and they are forever. But where our performance is not forever. It is a mortar. Okay. Further, the one which is the best today may not be the best tomorrow. Hence, it is a continuing process, as already explained with the help of the Fortune 500 company. Further, the focus of the benchmarking exercise is on identification of the scope of improvement and implementation of the same. So you need to identify some company which is better than you, which is improved than you, and then you need to reach to that place. It means benchmarking is a process to be the market leader, to be the industry leader, because you are copying to the best. The moment you reach to equivalent situation, then you start improving yourself. You become better than that particular organization. Okay. So now there is a theory, the type of the benchmarking, although attempt has been made that it must be given in a very systematic manner. The different bases need to be applied in order to differentiate the different form of the benchmarking. And after the type of benchmarking, there is a benchmarking process, which will not cover in today's class. That will cover in the next class. What we are going to do now, we are going to practice a question on a benchmarking. Okay. It may be possible that we'll not able to complete the entire question. Don't worry, we'll cover the one or two part. The remaining part will cover in the next class, but we'll need to move to the question so that you get the confidence. Okay, benchmarking question are not tough. Okay. Now read the question along with me. Read it very carefully. PHL, South Asia Premier Express Air and Integrated Transport and Distribution Firm, offer wide range of innovative supply chain services, including express distribution, 3PL. 3PL is nothing but the third party logistic. What is the third party logistic? Some organization, rather than supplying material themselves to their customer, give it to some outsourcing agency. So PHL acting as an outsourcing agency to such organization who wish to outsource their logistic function. Okay. Further, it's not only logistic function. Although the name is third party logistic, it's also includes sometimes the warehousing. It means you are storing material for some another company as well. So this 3PL has a wider meaning. Okay. Further, and consulting over the logistic issues. Further, PHL offer innovative logistic solution to its customer, enabling them to focus on their core competences. Obviously, every organization performs different processes in order to render the service or product to the customer. Some of the activity are value-added activity and some of the activity are non-value-added activity, like logistic, sending goods to the customer. Maybe value-added, maybe not value-added. For example, for Flipkart or for Walmart, etc., or for Amazon, etc., logistic is important. It has a very huge value because timely delivery is very much important. It's part of their value generating activity. Okay. But for some another organization who is sending the material to one location to the another location of the plant, for them it may be not that much important. So that company can do what? They can leave their logistic to the PHL and can continue on the product feature and other customer related services. Okay. The firm add maximum value to the business at every level. The right from providing the world-class warehousing support to ensuring the time definitive delivery to the goods anywhere in the country X. The following information is available. What are the information available? Read along with me. The first point, each warehouse of PHL is solely responsible for all customer within the specified area. What they did? It means to each warehouse, they allocate the area that you will render the services within this area only. Rather than saying branch office, what word they are using? Warehouse office. Okay. Further, it collects courier from the customer residing within the ambit of its own area for delivery, both within the specified area covered by warehouse and elsewhere in India. It means the warehouse one will accept the courier from here, from here, from here, and these courier maybe need to be supplied back to here only, or maybe to the area controlled by other warehouses. Okay. So this thing is mentioned. Further, after collection of the courier, the warehouse forward them for the delivery outside its own area to the warehouse from which the delivery are to be made to the customer. So obviously after collecting it, sending to the different area. For example, if some courier is booked here, but it is need to be delivered at W3, warehouse 3. What it will do? It will send it to the warehouse 3 and the person from the warehouse 3 will go to the address which is mentioned on the courier and deliver that courier. Further, therefore, each warehouse must integrate its delivery to the customer to include courier it has collected within the area. It means W1 is delivering those courier in the region which it collect itself or collected by W2 or W3. This thing is mentioned in the third point. What is mentioned? Courier it itself collect, or the courier that is transferred to it from the other warehouse. Originally it is collected by W3, but it is addressed to the person who reside in the area allocated to W1. So W3 send it back to the W1 and W1 distributed. W2 send it to the W1 and W1 distributed. Okay. So they just simply in the first 3 points did nothing, explain the network, how the distribution network is working. Okay. Further, each warehouse revenue, here point is important. Each warehouse revenue is based on the invoice value of all courier collected from the customer in its area, irrespective of the location of ultimate distribution warehouse. It means revenue is based upon the sourcing, not based upon the destination. What it impact has, if in W2 people sends the courier to the W3 and W1, then the warehouse of W2 get the revenue. Although who need to deliver it? W3 person need to deliver it. W1 person need to deliver it. But who is getting the revenue? W2. So it means that warehouse is an advantage from where the most of courier sent, rather than that warehouse where most of the courier need to be delivered. This is not very correct policy, but somehow it is written in the question. We can't challenge it. Moving further, each warehouse cost consists own operating cost plus some allocated proportional, including centralized administration costs such as the salary, legal, professional fee, and distribution center cost. This is also not very correct. It means the warehouse manager is not responsible for the cost out of his action. He also need to bear the cost of shared services. So how based upon the profitability I can judge his performance? Is it not wrong? So this thing is not very much acceptable from the preview of responsibility accounting. But written in the question, we'll have to move further. The management team and all employees of each warehouse are paid incentive, which remain payable quarterly. The bonus is based upon the achievement of the series of target value by each warehouse. It means employees are not provided with the reward of their individual performance. They are being rewarded for the performance of the entire warehouse. Again, an issue with the responsibility accounting. But there is one good thing, at least they are getting the reward. So reward system is there in order to motivate the employee. Further, internal benchmarking is to be used. It means ये company क्या करेगी? This company will compare the W1 against W2, W2 against W3, W3 against W4, or the intercomparison between these. Okay, because benchmarking is measuring performance against the benchmark partner in order to improve the performance to the benchmark level. It means earlier you are doing what? The first step is to measure the performance against the benchmark performance. Okay, so we are measuring the performance of different warehouses here. So internal benchmark is used at PHL to provide the set of absolute standard that the warehouse are expected to achieve. The annexure exhibit the target value and actual value achieved for each of the sample group of the 4 warehouses situated in city SG, HK, NY, and Z. So they gave us the data related to the 4 warehouses. The name of the warehouses is based upon the name of the city. The target value consists. What is the target value basically? The target value based upon which actual value or against which actual value is compared. The third element based upon which we measure our performance is nothing but the credit period control and administrative efficiency. The incentive are based upon the point system, how much point you score. Obviously, likewise, there is 1 point for the revenue, 1 point for the profitability. The company who earn more profitability than the targeted one, they'll get 1 point. And the one who is not able to meet will not get the point. So point need to be identified. Incentive are based upon the point system. It is also used as stimulus for each warehouse improving the operational effectiveness. Obviously, the warehouse which has a less point will need to benchmark itself against the warehouse which has higher point or the maximum point. Okay. तो यहाँ पे एक बात सीखने वाली है, you will not always benchmark yourself against the better than you. You will have to see best in the industry and then need to move to that level. But if you find it difficult that in the very first stage you are here, this is the second best performance, this is the first best, this is the third best. In the first go, you can't reach here. You can break down your program. It may be possible, but you need to see the processes of this benchmark partner only. You can't see, okay, first I reach to this level, then to this level. This is not acceptable. You need to see against the best in the class. No doubt you can cut down the target for years. Moving further, the 1 point is awarded in each case where the target value for each item in the annexure either achieved or exceeded, or a 0 point where the target is not achieved. So it's very clear. So data is given to you. We need to give the value. So let's read the requirement, what is need to be done in the question, and then we'll solve the question. Read the requirement along with me. Prepare a report. Now, what is required to you to draft a report? Friend, I have something to discuss on the report with you. Don't worry, I'll not discuss it in today's class. How to write a report? There are certain points that I'll tell you in the next class. Then I'll tell you that what are the common errors which is done by the student while writing the report or answering the question, and how we can overcome that. Obviously, I'll not do it in today's class. We'll do it in the next class. Okay. Now I'll come back. to the question, but I have to discuss it with you. Further, for the directors of the PHL, in the report, you need to cover the three things. Read the first thing along with me only. Rest of the thing we'll do it in the next class, but read the first thing with me. Analyze the comparative performance of the 4 warehouses. What do you need to do? You need to compare the performance of 4 warehouses based upon the 3 parameters which has been given to you in the question. What are those parameters? Your revenue and profitability, means financial aspect. Then courier delivery services and customer care, customer aspect. Then credit period control and administration efficiency, means how your credit control is, how good you are in order to recover the money from the debtors, how much debt, operational debt you usually give, what is your credit policy, etc. So, okay. So now we need to prepare the table. You can see from this particular annexure, the targeted revenue is there and actual revenue is also there. You simply need to compare whether you earn more than targeted revenue or less than targeted revenue. If you earn less than target revenue, like here, the SG warehouse need to earn 24 million, but it earn only, how much it earn? It earn only 22.5 million. It means it will not get the point. It will be awarded with 0. But whereas HK warehouse need to earn the revenue of 21 million, but whereas it earns the revenue of 27 million. So it must get the 0.1. I hope this thing is clear to you. Now, what is need to be done? We need to make this table based upon the points scored by the 4 different warehouses. So which one is the first warehouse? SG is the first warehouse. Which one is the second warehouse? HK is the second warehouse. Which one is the third? NY third and NZ third. Agreed? Just based upon the data given in the question, we need to assign the points. Now you need to help me for the revenue, who will get the point and who will not get the point. Okay, we'll spend 10 more minutes. So please bear with me so that we can complete this table. The discussion, don't worry, we'll do it in the next class. Okay, but give me 5 more minutes so that we can complete this particular question. So I'm waiting for your response. Quickly tell me whether the NY will get the 1 mark or not. Quickly tell me. The targeted revenue for the NY is 18 million, but whereas NY earn how much? 21 million. Similar way, NZ need to earn the revenue of 27 million, but whereas it earns the revenue of 33 million. Whether they'll get the point or not? Quickly answer me. In the meantime, I'll start preparing the table for you. Okay. So in the revenue, SG will not get the marks, but HK will get 1 mark. But HK will get 1 marks, NY will get 1 marks, and NZ will get 1 marks. Okay. Further on, next is profitability. See here. What is the target profit? 3.6 and actual profit is 3.45. Obviously, if SG make less sale, it will earn less profit. So we can't punish SG again based upon the absolute number. What we can do, we can compute percentage result, and this thing is mentioned in the question as well. Good, Raman. Chavi, you are also fine. Good. So in the question, it is also mentioned that in order to calculate the point for each warehouse, actual profit as percentage of actual revenue must exceed the target profit as percentage of target revenue. It means in the profit, we will not compare the absolute number. What we will do? We will compare the percentage, target percentage of profit and actual percentage of profit. So what we need to do now? We need to compute the percentage. 3.6 million of 24 million is nothing but the 15%. The 3.15 of 21, again 15%. The 2.7 of 18 is a 15%. 4.05 of 27 is again 15%. So the target profit ratio or the margin for each warehouse is 15%, whereas the actual profit is more than or less than that. The warehouse which earn more than that will get the point, and the warehouse which earn less than that will not get the point. So in case of SG, who earns 3.45 million on the sale of 22.50 million, will score 15.33%. The 3.6 million on 27 million is 13.33%. The 3.33 million on 21 million is 15.71%. The 4.2 million on 33 million is nothing but 12.72%. So who is having the better profitability? Only two warehouses. So these will get 1 and 1 point, whereas the remaining two will not get the point. So we'll record it here. Okay. So rather than preparing the notes down, we just prepare the notes on the previous page. So this will get 1 point, this will not get point, this will get 1 point, and this will not get point. So the total point earned in the category of revenue and profit is 1 by the SG, 1 by the HK, 2 by the NY, and 1 by the NZ. Based upon this, you can also give the ranking like 1, 2. Obviously, it will be 1 here, and in the rest of 3 warehouses, it will be 2, 2, and 2. Okay. Now move further to the courier and the delivery services. The data is given to you and it's very clearly mentioned. Good. Raman, Jayashri, Chavi, yes, fine. So, data is given. For the late collection of courier, the tolerance limit is 3%. 3% of your total courier can be late collected when customer asks you to collect in order to deliver. But only 2 warehouses can manage it less than 3, but whereas the remaining 2 has more than tolerance limit. So they will get 0, 0, but whereas these 2 get 1 and 1. So write it down. Which one is getting 0, 0? Okay. The SG will get 1. HK will get 0. NY get 1. NZ get 0. Now moving further. The misdirected courier. It means courier are not sent or delivered at the place it should be. 6% is the tolerance limit. But how much of the courier you wrongly delivered? You deliver 6.3. So you will not get marks here. You will get marks here because you are scoring less than, or you are sending the courier at the wrong address, only 5.85 of the total courier, whereas the limit is of 6. Here you will also get the point, but here you will not get the point. So let's record the marks 0, 1, 1, and 0. Now coming back, 1.5 is the tolerance limit for the delay response to the complaints. Get the marks, get the marks, get the marks, but not get the marks. So record the answer. It is 1, 1, 1 and 0. Good. Moving further. The delay due to the vehicle breakdown, 1.5. But how much here? 1.65, not getting marks, not getting marks. Yes, get the marks, not getting marks. Okay. So 0, 0, 0 and 1. Sorry friends, while writing the marks now, I'll write in the one line downward. So when you prepare this chart for you, you must prepare it in a correct manner. Okay. Further, the lost item. What is the tolerance limit? 1.5. But how much you lost? Only 0.9. 1 marks, 1 marks, 1 marks and 0 again. So record the points. 1, 1, 1, but 0. Okay, coming back. The damaged item are allowed 3%, but how much actually get damaged? 2.25 only. Get marks. More than 3, not getting marks. 2.25, getting marks. 2.7, yes, getting marks. So 1, 0, 1 and 1. Okay. Now compute the total marks here. The total marks are 4 for SG. For HK, it is 3. For NY, it is 5. For NZ, it is 2. So rank will be first here, then the second rank, then the third rank, then the fourth rank. Okay. Let me check whether we filled the response correctly. Here we make a small mistake. Here is 1, here it is 0. So obviously we need to correct here as well. Here it will be 6, here it will be 1. Okay. Okay, done. I make it correct. Sorry, I make it correct. Okay. So you can see it here. Now, to the last aspect based upon which we need to do the marking. Okay. The average data week. Average data week basically means what? The data equivalent to sale of how many week. If you are making the sale of 1,000 rupee in each of the week and there are 52 week in a year, it means in the total year you make a sale of 52,000 rupee. So you can have a datas in the balance sheet equivalent to 5.5 weeks. In each week, how much of the sale you are making? 1,000. It means how much of the data you can have? 5,500. But SG has a data equivalent to the 5.8 weeks. It means SG has a data of 5,800, more than what is permitted, hence not get the marks. So anyone who's having the average data week more than this target will get 0, less than this target will get the 1 mark. Okay. So SG will not get marks, HK will get marks, NY will get marks, and NZ will not get the marks. So 0, then 1, then 1, then 0. Okay. Now moving to the next point. Data more than 60 days. How many data can be Those who didn't pay you despite 60 days has been elapsed from the invoice date, it shall not be more than 5%. 5% of total. It is not mentioned. It should be mentioned in the question 5% of total data. It means whatsoever be your total data at any point of time, the 5% of that shall not be more than shall not be more than 5% of these are those data who didn't pay you for the 60 days. Okay, so we need to identify here how many of the data are there who didn't actually pay us for more than 60 days. How will we compute that? How will we identify? For that, we need to prepare a table of the aging of the data. And this is the last task for the day. We'll complete it and then we'll complete the part 1 and then we'll solve. Okay. So what is need to be done here? You need to prepare a table. Firstly, you will identify how much is your total data. How you will identify? The revenue of each warehouse is given. That revenue is for entire year, annual revenue. What you will do? You will divide the annual revenue with the 52. You'll get the weekly revenue. Then you know the data of SG is equivalent to 5-8 week of the sale. So you will multiply weekly revenue with the 5.80. This will give you the amount of total data. Then you reduce out of the total data whose age is less than 30 days, whose age between 31 days to 60 days. Obviously, the remaining are those whose date is more than or whose age is more than 60 days. Okay. Abhi thoda clear nahi hua hoga, but we'll solve it. Then it will be clear to you. Okay. Now quickly write down the revenue along with me. Mind it. In the question earlier, the revenue given to you in the million terms. But when he give you the data, they gave you data here in the 1,000 term. So you need to convert entire data either into the million or in the 1,000. Another important information is mentioned here in the form of note. What is mentioned here? That PHL operate all around the year. It means you can presume easily that the revenue occurs throughout the year in the proportional manner. So what we are going to do here, just dividing by 52. This is not assumption. This is presumption, because the hint is given in the question that in each of the week you are earning same amount of the revenue because you are working throughout the year, round the year. It's not any peak season, any dull season. Okay. So it's a presumption which we are believing in, and we are writing here the revenue, but we are writing here the revenue in the form of the 1,000. Okay. So how much is the revenue? The revenue is 20. In the 1,000 term, we need to write 24 million there. So it will become 24 million. So it will become 24,000 into the 1,000 times. Then HK, the revenue is 21,000. In NY, the revenue is 18,000. In the NZ, the revenue is 27,000. Agreed? So now we need to compute the revenue per week. There are how many weeks? 52 weeks. Quickly help me to compute the revenue. Any of my friend? Please help me to compute the revenue. Sorry, friend. While recording the revenue, I recorded the targeted revenue rather than the actual revenue. First, let me correct it. We need to record the actual revenue. Okay. How much is the actual revenue? Actual revenue was 22,500. Here, the actual revenue is 27,000. The actual revenue is 21,000, whereas the actual revenue here is 33,000. Okay. The revenue per week need to be computed. How will compute it? Revenue by 52 weeks. So here it will come. Firstly, let us write down the weeks. It will help us. 5.8 week is there. Then 4.9 week is there. Then 5.10 week is there. Then 6.2 week is there. And if you compute the data, which is nothing but the weekly revenue multiplied with the data's week, you'll get the amount of data here. It will be 2510. Lakshmi computed from Nudrai. Yes, good. Thank you. Actual revenue, Ankur suggested. Yes, Ankur, I corrected. Actual revenue, I put it. Actually, I'm keep on doing this alt tab. So this is the reason that I'm not able to get the correct data. So I need your support as well by writing down the data here. But now it is correct. You can see. Here the total data will be 2544. Here the total data will be 2060. Here the total data will be 3935. Okay. So if we reduce the data whose age is less than 30 days or the data whose age between 31 to 60 days, out of the total data, we'll get those data whose age is more than 60 days. And we need to compute the same. Just compute it along with me. It will be 78.5. This will be 94.5. This will be 60.5. This will be 107.5. How basically I compute it? I compute these two from the total data. Okay. These two from the total data. Now, what is next step need to be followed? The data whose age is more than 60 days need to be computed in the percentage. It means this is need to be computed as a percentage of the total data. 78.5 thousand of 2510,000 will be how much? It will be 3.13%. How basically we compute it? It is 78.5 divided by 2510 into 100 because we need to compute it in a percentage. Okay. If we compute the data here, it will be 3.71%. If we compute the data here, it will be 2.94%. And if we compute the data here, it will be 2.72%. What was the target in front of you? The target in front of you is this, that your data whose age is more than 60 days shall not be 5% of total data. But you can see here, in case of all the warehouses, there is no warehouse where the data whose age is more than 60 days are more than 5%. In all 4 cases, it's less than 5%. So everyone will get 1 point here. Agreed? Now moving further, the next parameter. The next parameter is invoice queries. It shall not be more than 5% of the total invoices you raise. But in each case, you can see it's quite a less than 5%. So everyone will get the 1 point here. Okay. So all 4 will get 1 point each. The next is what? The credit note as a percentage of the revenue. So credit note amount is given to you in the question here. Again, in the 1000 term, you need to measure it against the percentage of revenue. And the target is given to you that the total amount of credit notes shall not be more than 0.5. So we need to see how much of the warehouses able to meet this standard and which of the warehouse failed to meet this particular standard. So the revenue we noted above as well. So we'll just copy it. 22,500 in the 1000 term, then 27,000 in the 1000 term, then 21,000. I'm just copying it from here. Okay. And then 33,000 from in the 1000 term. Can you compute the credit note percentage to the revenue? How will you compute it? 67.50 divided by 22,500 into 100. Okay. Just compute it quickly. It will come 0.3%. Here it will be 0.2%. Here it is 0.2% again. And in the last, it is 0.6%. Agreed? And what was the target? The target was 0.5%. That it shall not be more than 0.5%. So the first 3 warehouse will get the point, whereas the 4th warehouse will not get the point here. So what are the total point of this parameter? Credit control and administration efficiency? 3, 4, 4, and 2 only. Okay. What is the ranking? The first and the first, then the second, based upon this parameter individually, and then third. What are the total points scored by each of the warehouse? The SG scored 1, then 4 here, then 3 here. It means total 8 points. Then HK 1, then 3 here, then 4 here. It means in totality, the points are 8 again. In case of NY, 2 here, then 6 here, 8 plus 4, that is 12. In case of NZ, 1 here, then again 1 here, 2, then only 2 here, only 4 marks to the, or 4 points to the, 4 points to the NZ. Okay. So what was asked to you, with which we'll wind up today's class? It is asked to you that you need to analyze the comparative performance of the 4 warehouses, SJ, HK, NY, and NZ. Okay. So here you can see the performance can be evaluated based upon the individual category. The ranks are already given, or it can be based upon the total category or total points. If we consider the total points, then the best performing division is NY. The reasonable or acceptable performance is in case of SG and HK, but underperforming warehouse is NZ. Okay. So this is need to be answered, that in which of the domain which warehouse performed better, and in totality which performance of which warehouse is acceptable and which warehouse is not acceptable. If you prepare it in the form of table, then this is known as league table. Okay. This is usually prepared in the case of the benchmarking by the organization when we do it in a professional sense. So I hope this much is clear to you. We'll stop here, and in the next lecture, we'll start discussion from here. It's already 9:20. Thank you for being with me, and you can say that compensating the first 15 minutes which we lost due to the technical error by spending additional 20 minutes. So thank you for your support. I hope this first part is quite clear to you. If any of a point is not clear to you, don't worry. We'll discuss in the next lecture as well. I'll keep the record or the this answer of this question with me in this manner only. In the meantime, if you have any question, you can type it in the query box. Else, we are going to wind up for the day. Okay. It's 9:21. I'll give you a minute or two. If you have any question, please write it in the query box. As we'll also consider the queries in the next class. Okay. So thank you to everyone. Ankur Garg, Chavi, Jayashri, Raman, Muthalakshmi, Hema, Ravi Teja, Jayashri, Anjali. Okay. So thank you everyone. Bye for now. We'll meet again in the next class. There is a humble request to you. Please, prior to come to the class, read this question so that you must be having a fresh thought on the question so that we can finish it in the first 15 minutes. And then afterward, we'll move to the performance evaluation for the not-for-profit organization. But prior to that, we'll study the theory of the benchmarking. Okay. So bye for now. Thank you, Chavi. Bye, Raman. Okay. Bye, everyone. Good night.